So in this video, you are going to learn how to use Blender. Blender lets you make almost anything you can imagine. Let's start by downloading it first. You can download for Windows, Linux, or Mac. By the way, I'm using Windows. Now, after installing, just open it. It would take some time depending on your PC. Now, the first thing you see is Splash Screen, which shows you your past Blender files, and some shortcut tabs. Now, just click anywhere. And this is your lovely 3D cube. You will use left click to select things like this light or this camera or anything else. Now, let me tell you the navigation in this 3D space. You can scroll up or down to zoom and use middle mouse button and drag to rotate. And press shift plus middle mouse button to pan move. Also, you have these gizmo buttons to do the same. And you need to practice this 3 moves to make yourself faster in Blender. You will also find all the shortcuts in the description. You can select multiple objects by holding shift and doing left click. Now let's see how you move, scale, and rotate things. You can press G to move it in the 3D space or in some axis like X, Y, or Z by clicking the letter on your keyboard. The red line is X, and green is Y, and Z is blue. Click left to confirm the location and Control plus Z to undo. You can press S to scale up or down. Also, you can press same axis to scale. Press R to rotate and the axis you want to rotate in. Now, when you rotate, scale, or move, some numbers shows up here. Like, if I rotate, it shows up the angle. You can press Control to do incremental rotation or Shift to rotate slowly. Now, this is your outliner, which shows you what things you have added in the 3D scene. Like, we have cube, camera, and light. Below it, we have properties panel, which lets you change render settings or resolution, FPS, in a animation. Now, if you click that image icon called Scene Properties, you will find unit settings. You can change it imperial or to metric. Now, if you select your cube, you will see a new icon appear, which looks like wrench. What this does, it adds geometry modifiers. You will learn how to use common ones. If you go further down, you will see Physics Simulation tab, which lets you add real-life physics, like fire, cloth, or water. And the last button you see is Material Properties, which lets you change color or texture of the object. Let's see how to do modeling. On the left corner, press the Object Mode dropdown and select Edit Mode. You could press Tab to switch to Edit Mode or Object Mode. What you basically do in modeling is manipulate the shape of the object by moving its parts or adding parts. First thing first, these are vertices or points, and 2-point will create an edge, and by selecting all 4 vertices will create a face. And when modeling, you should ensure a face is created by 4 edges or 4 vertices, and we call this a quad. It will be very helpful to you in future. Now in top left, you can see 3 buttons, and each lets you select vertices, edge, or a face. You can do this by pressing 1, 2, or 3 on your keyboard. Now you can do same moving, scaling, or rotation in modeling. Select the face and press G, S, or R and the axis. You can extrude a face, edge, or vertex by pressing E on the keyboard and the axis you want in. You can insert multiple face in a face by pressing I. And if you keep adding it and scale it too much, it will create overlapping faces or geometry, and you need to avoid this. Press Ctrl plus R to add loop cuts. You can drag your mouse towards edges for horizontal or vertical loop cuts. Then press left click for confirming and drag the loop cut where you want, and then again left click. To add multiple loop cuts, press Ctrl plus R, then scroll up or down to add or remove loop cuts. If you select these 4 edges and then press Ctrl plus B, you can bevel, which is used in hard surface modeling like machines, electronic object, sci-fi things, or you can just get a house roof. Now, get back into object mode. Then on top right, you will see viewport modes, like that X-ray mode, which makes you look through the objects, and then wireframe mode to see polygons. And if you turn off X-ray, you can't see through it. Next, we have material mode, where you can see textures or colors of the object of scene. For now, it's white, and next we have rendered mode. That part of the cube is glowing because the light is coming from that side. And if you click in that camera icon in gizmo buttons, you can see through the camera, and what camera is seeing will be rendered. The shortcut for the camera is numpad 0. If you click the light and move it by pressing G, you can see what it's doing. The part of the cube which is facing the light is illuminated, and rest gets dark. If you click that lock icon below the camera button, then you press those 3 navigation move I taught you earlier, which is zoom in or out, rotating, and pan view. It lets you control the camera more easily and choose the scene you want. And to get free, just click the camera button and lock button. Now, to render the scene, go there on Render tab and click Render Image. As you can see, it rendered the scene, and it will also tell us how much time it took, which frame is this, and other details. And to save the rendered image, click on Image and select Save, and then the destination. Now we will learn how to add color to the object, so let's switch to Material View first. It's currently white because our material is white. On the right side, you have your Material tab. If you don't have the material showing, you can click on the plus icon and then select New. You can rename your material name whatever you want. Currently, your object has 2 materials, but only one is active. Now, to change the color, click on the base color and select the color you want. Like I selected red color, and instantly my cube color also changed. Now you can only see the color in material view, not in clay render mode. Then we have other properties such as metallic, which makes object look like metal, and there is roughness, which makes it shinier like a glass, or rough like a wood. Then there are other properties like IOR for transparent glass, plastic, and alpha, which makes it disappear. Now let's see how to add 2 materials into one object. If I make the second material blue, see nothing happens, but if you go to Edit mode and select a face, then select the second material and choose Assign, the color of the face changes. You can do this with more faces. To delete this cube and other things, select the object and hit X and delete it, and do same with others. Now, if you can see the red-white dotted circle, that is your 3D cursor, and whatever you add in the scene will be added here. Now from here, we will be building a cake, give it color, modifiers, and make a simple animation. Click Shift plus A, go to Mesh, and add a cylinder object. I'm adding cylinder because it's a closest shape to a cake. On the bottom left, click the dropdown and increase the vertices to make the surface smooth. Change the dimension of the cylinder so it matches a real-life cake size. Now we will be working with this. If you see the sides of the cake, you can see it's not smooth. So to make it smooth, right-click and choose Shade Auto Smooth, and see, it looks great. In Edit mode, select both upper and lower face, then go to the face option on top and select Grid Fill. Now, do the same for the lower one. Now, don't go how it looks. Just do what I said. Now, we will create top cream of the cake. So first of all, add a loop cut by pressing Ctrl plus R. On the side, we will have dropping cream. Now we will select the loop faces. And to select them quickly, press Alt plus left click. Now, to select the top faces, you can also press C and drag your mouse over the faces, and you can hit Escape on the keyboard. Now we will duplicate this part by Shift plus D and right-click to keep in its original location. Then we will separate this new part by pressing P and then choose Selection and go to Object Mode. As you can see in the outliner, the new part named Cylinder 001 is showing. But to make the cream thick, we will add another modifier called Solidify. Go to the Modifiers tab and add a Solidify modifier. Now, you need to change some setting in the modifier to make the cream thick. So go to the offset and set it to 1.0. And now we will lower the thickness a bit. Now, to make the cream soft liquid type, we will add a subdivision surface. After adding it, you will see the part is going into the cake. So to solve it, you need to add a supporting loop cut. So press Ctrl plus R to add a loop cut. And if still some part is inside it, scale the loop cut and move it a bit. If your cream has these sharp edges, then increase the level of subdivision. Remember, don't add too much or you may blew up your PC. Now we will make those cream drops on the sides, and so go to the edit mode. If you zoom in, you can see vertices. Now we will drag those downwards, press G, and then Z. And do the same around the cake, and don't go too uniform or repetitive. After doing that, if you see the bottom of the cake bread, it looks hard too. So to make it soft and smooth, add a bevel modifier. Search for bevel, then add it. Now decrease the amount and increase the segments. And if you go into shading and enable hard normal, then it became smooth. And press Ctrl plus A on the modifiers to apply them. Now, in edit mode, you can see the subdivisions and bevel has increased the quads in the cream. In the status bar, you can also see your stats like triangles, VRAM usage, and if you can't see, then go to Edit tab on top. There, select Preferences. Then go to Interface, and there you can see status bar. Here you can enable these useful stats like video memory, RAM usage. Now we will add more details on the cream using sculpturing. So go to the Object dropdown and select their sculpturing and start drawing. Here we will make the cream drops more realistic. You have a bunch of brushes to choose from, like this elastic grab one. Using this, you can move the part of the cream like this. Do it properly and do same all around the cake, randomly. If your cream became like this, you need to push it back. You can also do this same in edit mode. Select these faces and press O or turn on proportional editing in the top. What it does is it moves the surrounding part with it. Depending on how big brush size you have, you can change that by scrolling. Like I selected these faces, and if I press G, then whole part is moving, means my brush size is very big. So I will scroll up to make it small. You can also add one more subdivision to make it smooth, and you can also unsubdivide it by going to Edit mode, then right-click and select Unsubdivide. But I will keep my subdivision and apply it, then go to sculpturing mode and continue adding details on the edge of the cream. Like this, you should draw all around the cream, like this. You can hold Shift while drawing to activate Smooth Brush. You can also control strength and radius of the brush. Now we will learn how to add mask. To add it, see the left toolbar and select Draw Mask. And then draw around the edge of the cream where you want to inflate it. After that, go the Mask tab on top and select Invert Mask. Now, whatever you draw will be drawn on white part, not on the black. And now, to remove the mask and go to the same Mask tab, then select Clear Mask. Then do some finishing by smoothing it. Now we will make some candles. So add another cylinder and scale it like a candle. Now moving the candle and duplicating it, then placing it in perfect circle is hard, so we will add another modifier to do for us. First, delete this one. What we need to do is move the candle into center, so to do that, select the cream and press Shift plus S, then select Cursor to Selected. Then we will select the candle and press Shift plus S again and do Selection to Cursor. It will automatically move the candle into center. Now we will add the Array modifier, the top one. It will repeat the candles in line. Now go to the settings and select Circle instead of line in shape. Increase the radius to push candles outwards from the center and increase the count to add more candles. Now, if you go to the edit mode, you can see the original candle. You can modify it and rest around it. We'll also change. So let's make it look like a candle. First, turn the modifier off by clicking the display button. Go to edit mode, zoom in, and add a loop cut and move it down, like here. Add another one in between. Now select these loop faces. If you click E to extrude, you see you can't do it. So the proper method is extrude along normal by doing right-click and then drag your mouse. You can also press Alt plus E to do that. Now select this face and click Shift plus S and then Cursor to Selection. Then Shift plus A and go to Curve and add a Bezier curve. And then scale it down and rotate it. Now go to this green curve symbol and scroll down and go to Geometry. There in Bevel, increase the depth. This will add thickness to your curve. By the way, curve object and mesh object are different. Now to convert curve into mesh, select it and right-click there, choose Convert to Mesh. But if you zoom in and notice this cut glitch, press N to open right panel, there go to View, and decrease the clip's start value. Now enable the modifier again, but if you see the string is in its original position. So to fix it, you need to join it with the candle. So select the string and then the candle, and then press Ctrl plus J. Then if we enable the modifier, now the string also gets duplicated in circle with the candle. Click the candle and select Shade Auto Smooth. Now we will create the flame. So to create it, add a circle by Shift plus A, then on the left window, decrease its radius. Now, move it in Z-axis and scale it. Then go to Edit Mode, make sure to tap 2, and then right-click, then select Extrude Edges. And extrude along Z, like this much. Then add a loop cut here and scale it outwards. Then select this top edge loop and press F to create faces. Then add a subdivision modifier by pressing Ctrl plus 2. And if you see these triangular artifacts, you can add a bunch of loop cuts. Also fill these edge loop and insert a face there to remove the new artifacts. Then apply the modifier and then join the flame and the candle. Now we will create some decorations for the cake, like sprinkles. So to create them, we will add a cylinder and then decrease the vertices to 32 and radius like this much and depth like this. And apply the scale by Control plus A. Then go to Edit mode and select Top and Bottom Edge Loop. Then press Control plus B to bevel and scroll to add more segments. Then add many loop cuts by Control plus R. Now we will bend the sprinkle by adding a simple deform modifier to it. You will find it under Deform option. Now it's twisted, so choose Bend in the modifier. If you added few loop cuts, it will look weird and low poly. And press Shift plus D to duplicate and create some variations, like more smaller one. Now we will create another sprinkle-like balls. So add a UV sphere and duplicate them. Shift select them and apply scale. Now we will do the texturing of the cake. If you go to Material View, the cake is white because it hasn't any texture yet. On the top bar, there is Shading Workspace, which is for texturing. Now, this workspace looks like this. This is your 3D view. The bottom window is your node setup workspace. And you can remove these left windows by dragging them or right-click on them and select Join Left and do same for the bottom one. Now click on New to add a material on the cake bread. Now, this thing is almost same as the right one, but it has more control. Both settings are same and connected. So if you change the color will change there too. In this shading nodes, you can add different nodes and then connect them to get an output. If I change the color in the node, it will change the color there. I will keep it chocolate color in this case. Now for the cream, add another material. We will decrease the roughness of the cream and set color to something white-yellow. I have decreased the roughness so cream looks shiny. Now we will add material to our candles. So the color I'm setting is red. Now, our candles will have 3 different materials. So disable the modifier, then go to Edit mode. Then select the one face of the flame and press L. It will instantly select the flame part. Then go to Material tab and press plus and select the material index and hit Assign. Then do same for the string, select a face, press L, and add another material index and assigned it. Now select the flame material, click New. For the flame, we will add Emission. What it does, it makes it emit light. Increase the strength and choose a warm color. By this, you can make objects glow. Now select the string material and simply add a rough black color. Now we will add some details to the candles. If you see some part of candle is glowing, this is because the light is passing through it, which is called subsurface scattering. And to do that in Blender, you have the same setting in the node. Increase the weight, and you will eventually see that the below values are red, green, blue, And you will need to change your scale according to object size. If I make it 0, the effect turns off, and increasing it brings back and adds more scattering. Now we will add random colors to candles using nodes. Click Shift plus A to add a node, then search Color Ramp, then left click to confirm. Now, what you do is click and drag a wire from this yellow point and connect it to base color yellow point. Now the candle's color changed because the color in our color ramp is black and white. Drag these handles and you will see the candle's color change. Now add a object info node. Drag the wire from random and connect it to color ramp's FAC. You can see your candles have same color, no random colors. Then it's because they are the same single object, and you need to separate them. First, apply the array modifier, go to edit mode, then press A to select them all, and press P and select loose parts. Now each candle is separated. Now if you drag the handles, each candle will have different colors. I forgot one thing to tell you. Select this dropdown and select Constant. Now click here and add colors. I will add red and pink or maybe blue. Click this plus icon to add more color handles. You can drag them to choose what colors you want most. Now add material to sprinkles. We will create same random color and sprinkles. Go to your candle material, press B to box select them and tap Ctrl plus C. Then head to your sprinkle material and paste it. Now connect them. Select the last two sprinkles, then select the one with the material, then go to your Material tab. Click that dropdown and choose Copy Material from Selected. This will help you add same material to several objects at once. Now, decide what color you want in sprinkles. Now we will learn how to add sprinkles into the cream. But first, go there and enable Face Orientation. It will show you correct direction face are facing. If it's red and outside of your cake, then it's incorrect. To solve it, go to Edit Mode, then select all faces by pressing A, then click Shift plus N. In my case, it was already correct, so you wouldn't see any changes. Now, select your cream and add a scatter on surface modifier. First, we will move our sprinkles into a collection, shift select them and press M, click on New Collection and rename it to Sprinkles. And there will be a sprinkle collection in the outliner. Also move your ball sprinkles into a new collection and name it Sprinkle 2. Now select your cream, go to your modifier, in Instancing select Collection, and tap there and choose the Sprinkle collection. And don't forget to apply scale to your sprinkles. Now increase the density and enable pick instances. Click the Transform button. You can change the scale to make sprinkle smaller or bigger. If you see, the sprinkles are half inside the cream. To make them lying down on the cream, you need to change alignment axis. Choosing X or Y makes them lying down. Now, if you want the sprinkles on a specific area, like in circle, you can do weight painting. To do that, go to Object Mode dropdown and select Weight Painting. The red color will have most sprinkles, while blue will have least, and black wouldn't have sprinkles. On top, you will see Group, which stores weight layers. To make it work, go to your modifier, click on the distribution mask. After click again, then you will see your weight painting layer called Group. After that, all your sprinkles will be scattered on the painted area. You can also control radius and weight in weight painting. Also select density instead of amount in the modifier. And also select Poisson disk. In the minimum distance value, add some small value. It will prevent sprinkles overlapping into each other. If your sprinkles are looking too repetitive, you could randomize them. In randomize, you can change the offset between them. You can also randomize the rotation so they don't look positioned in one direction. Now I will give some new colors to sprinkles. Also, shade smooth your sprinkles, or they may look like this. And also to edit color or geometry of sprinkles, you need to do with actual sprinkle, not with this cream one. Now it's your choice how you want your sprinkles to look like. Now select your ball sprinkles and then select the cylindrical one. Go to its material and do copy material from selected. Now go to the modifier, click the drop down, and duplicate it. Now select the sprinkle to collection. Now we will make another scatter. This is your test, and you will do this yourself. Now I will add cream bread layer texture in this cake using another node setup. So first add a wave texture node and then a color ramp node. Then hover your mouse on the base color and tap Ctrl plus C. Then hover your mouse on the color ramp and do Ctrl plus V to paste the color and create the connections like this. Now we will add mapping node setup, but to do that quickly, you will press Ctrl plus T. But to do that, you need to activate an add-on, go to Preferences on top, then go to Add-ons and enable Node Wrangler. Select the wave texture node and tap Ctrl plus T. Now we will change the rotation of those white lines. In the rotation, change any one axis. In my case, it becomes vertical lines by making Y 90 degree. Now there are too many thin lines. So go to your wave texture and decrease the scale. You can also control the thickness of white cream. Just drag the handles in color ramp. Now select your top cream and copy its color and paste it in color ramp. But it looks flat. So we will add some details to it. First, we will move this aside. Then select your BSDF node and Shift plus D to duplicate it and move it down. Now copy paste the cream color in it and make the color ramp's color black and white. This will work as a mask. Then we will add a mix shader node and hover it over the green line and left click. It will automatically join. Now drag the wire from second BSDF and put it in the mix shader. Then drag wire from color ramp and put it in FAC of mix shader. Now, cream and bread can have different roughness. My cream is now shiner than the bread. And yes, you can change more things other than just roughness. Now I will add some more things on cake, like frostings. To create that, I will add a simple star object. But if you can't see that, go to Preference and Enable and another add-on called Extra Mesh Objects. Then add the simple star object, then scale it down and move it down on top of the cream. Now, another thing, if you want to place the frosting exactly on top of it, then enable snapping on top and select face option. This will snap your star on the cream. Now go to object mode and select the top face. And also to select them at once, press Shift plus G and select normal. It will instantly select top faces, then scale it down and move it upwards. And now add some vertical loop cuts. Now, apply the scale, and we will add the simple deform modifier again. And this time, we will choose twist option, choose Z axis, and increase or decrease the angle. And to make it look like frosting, we will add subdivision modifier, then shade auto smooth. Then move the cream in the center by pressing Shift G and selection to cursor. And move it down in Z axis. Now we will add the same array modifier like we had in the candle. Choose the circle option, increase the radius, and increase count. And to decrease the scale, go to edit mode and select the frosting and scale it down. Now I will add color to the frosting and give it like pink color. Now I will add one more thing in the middle. Shift plus A and add a text and move it to the middle of the cake. Press tab and write whatever you want. Like, I will write B for blender. Now, go to that green text option in Properties panel, and there in Geometry, increase extrude, and it will make your text thick. And to change the font, and scroll down and click on File option, and it will open your Windows font folder. And you don't need to install these if you already have these. You can also install more from the internet. Now we will add a circle to model the plate. Shift plus A to add a circle and then scale it up as the size of a plate. Then go to edit mode and press F to fill the circle. Click that Y button in Gizmo to go side view. Now extrude the circle and then scale it down a bit. Now insert a face and it extrude again. Then shade auto smooth. Press Shift plus G and select cursor to world origin. Now we will create a table. So add a plane object and move it down. Now to place whole cake and plate perfectly on table, we will select the cake. Because our candles has same material, we will press Shift plus L and then choose material. Then select the plate and hit Ctrl plus P and choose Object Keep Transform. Now turn on snapping and move your plate only, and whole cake will snap to it. Now we will complete our table, scale it down and extrude it. And don't forget to turn off snapping. Then select the bottom face and subdivide it 2 times and select these corner faces and press I, then scale it in X and then in Y. Press greater than key and select individual origins and make the faces into square shape by scaling them. Then extrude them. Now add a bevel modifier to the table and there lower the amount. Then go to shading and enable hard normal. And if you see these artifacts, go to geometry option and there select arc instead of sharp. And now we will start setting the scene for rendering. So got a render mode. The scene has no light source. That's why it's dark. And yes, don't forget to add colors to your text. You can add same subsurface properties on it. Now go to render option. In engine, select cycles and then select GPU. And now go to preferences. And in system, choose CUDA and then your graphics card as I have it in video one and choose Vulkan in backend. This will keep your Blender and render scenes more faster. You can also increase your undo steps, which lets you far you want to undo. Now, if you see some noise in your scene like this, then you will need to enable denoise in your render options. But it will also use more CPU. Now, Shift plus A and add a light and choose Area Light. If your viewport is lagging, you can lower the samples to 100 in render settings. And now I will create a 3-point lighting. So this will be our fill light and move it to the left. And now we will create key light. So duplicate this light by Shift plus D and move to the right. And it should face the cake. Now go to that green bulb option, which control your light. And here we will convert into circular shape light. So choose disk in shape option. It will make light and shadow more smooth. Now duplicate it and we will create a backlight. And it should be behind the cake. It's used for creating highlights. And now we will add a camera. It's now somewhere else. Click that lock icon and scroll to go back and place camera so it's showing our cake. Now you need to also give color to your table, but not the simple. We will add a PBR texture. PBR textures are made to use in 3D programs. So hover your mouse in that corner and you will see plus icon and then left click drag and left click to confirm and now have two windows. And now click in that general icon and choose shader editor. PBR textures are image textures with some information. You will find textures in the description except the render file. Select all and drag into Blender. Now in normal map, change color space from sRGB to non-color. That's because it isn't for color. Then connect diffuse map to color of BSDF. Now to connect normal map, add a normal map node, then connect color output and input, and connect normal to BSDF. Now change color space to non-color like normal map, connect roughness map to roughness input of BSDF. And now you have PBR textures on your wood. It has many advantages, like increasing the realism and more details, but also pushing your VRAM at same time. Now click on New, and now press N and go to Node Wrangler option and select Add a Principal BSDF setup, and choose Diffuse, Normal, and Roughness. You will find the download link in the description, and it will create a PBR texture setup. And you can add HSV node between it to control its color. By this way, you can add PBR texture setup instantly. And now we work on lighting on the cake. If you go to Properties panel, you will see a red earth-like icon. It controls the color of the world, or HDRI. For now, choose black color. Now we will add plane object and rotate it and move back of the cake. And it should be behind the backlight. And now give material to it, and I will give it cyan. Select your fill light and go to its settings and lower its exposure and go through all three lights until you are satisfied. And you can see the colors better. You can also change the color of the light here. And now we will create a simple animation. What we got to create is a camera movement around the cake. So drag up this bottom window and go to your camera view and position your camera to the left, like from here. Then press I on the keyboard to add a keyframe. You can move this keyframe on timeline, and the animation will start from this keyframe. Then I will move this blue handle like on 100, and then reposition my camera, and then press I again. And now if I press spacebar, you can see a simple animation. And you should also change the end in timeline to 100, not to 250, because your animation is only 100 frames long. And now Blender will render the animation only to 100th frame. Now, if you see the animation carefully, it's a bit weird because the camera movement isn't accurate. So what you're going to do is select both keyframe and tap X to delete them. And now Shift plus A and select empty below and choose plane axis. Now select the camera and then the plane axis and tap Control plus P and select Object Keep Transform. And now we will animate the empty, and it will move the camera around cake in a circular path. Now, just do the same, press I to add first keyframe, then move the handle and rotate your empty and press I again. And now your camera movement are more accurate. Now, if you select your first keyframe and press T, you can choose speed graphs like you do in video editing. If I select linear, then the animation will play in uniform speed. Now let's make the scene ready for rendering. Then you can render your animation more faster. Go to your render settings. And there is render dropdown. Set the noise threshold to 0.03 or more. What it does, it reduces the noise in the high noisy areas of the scene, like dark regions, glass, or volumetrics. Max samples is simply the maximum number of rays Blender is allowed to shoot for each pixel while rendering. Think of it like this. Each sample is one attempt to estimate the correct color of a pixel. Now, the value is too high, so make it like 128. Denoise is different from sampling. Instead of reducing noise by calculating more light rays, it uses AI to remove the remaining noise after rendering. It's using the open image denoise, which is a Intel thing. You can also increase the quality to high, balanced, or fast. And you should also enable this GPU option, and it will be very fast. The light path settings in Blender's cycles control how many times light is allowed to bounce around your scene before Blender stops tracing it. The total, it controls how many times light can bounce. The diffuse will control bounces from matte surfaces. Higher values means more realistic indirect lighting, but now in indirect put value to 3, indirect is the bounced light. Fast GI approximation is a feature in cycles that makes rendering indirect lighting much faster. And now there's a simplify option, which makes your viewport less heavy, and while rendering, you choose texture limit, which lowers the texture's resolution in your scene. Below it is motion blur. It's used in animations which has fast-moving objects, like a train animation or a fighter plane animation. And at last, it's color management, and it controls how colors are displayed on your monitor. Most cases, you will choose sRGB. In View option, you can choose Filmic, ACES, or RAW. And in Look option, you can choose different level of contrast. And last two are exposure control and gamma controls. Changing these settings will change the look of your scene, but it may look different in different screens. Now, just below the render settings, there's output properties. Here you can change the resolution of the render. You already have some ready-made options. And then you have frame rate, which is set to 24. Before making an animation, you should decide the frame rate first. And below the output dropdown, you will see options like media output, whether it's image or a video, and then you have file format option. You can use JPEG option to save you storage. And then we have color depth and image compression. Okay, one more thing. Go to Outliner and click that eye and camera icon. The camera button control the weather sprinkle collection will render or not, but the sprinkle on the cream will render. Now create a new window on the left and choose Compositor. It will let you do post-processing. Now click on New, then turn off Backdrop, and then you can drag some useful nodes like this vignette one and drop it right here, but you won't see any effect. For that, go to the drop-down next to Render Mode and select Always. And in the node, you can control its effect. You can also try this Tune Image node put after it. You can control contrast, color boost, clarity, and many more. Now Shift+A, search for Glare node, and put it after Tune Image. And you can see it's creating a star effect at our candle flame. In Streak setting, you can control its angle and control its fade and its strength. And now duplicate this node and put after it, choose Bloom instead of Streaks. And now adjust some setting like strength or like threshold. And at last, add a color correction node. And you can control many settings here. And now let's save the file. Go to File option, choose Save As, then type a name, and then Save. You can also tap Ctrl+S to save the file. Now let's render our animation. But before that, go to Output option, and there choose a folder to save the frames. And now I will choose my rendered image folder. And now go to Render option and select Render Animation, and it will render all the frames. And after rendering, go to File option, and in New, select Video Editing. And here we will put our rendered frames of the animation. On the timeline, click Shift+A and choose Image Sequence. Then select the rendered image from your folder in 1 to 100 sequence. Click that drop-down for sorting them. Tap A to select them all. And select Add Image Strip. And move it to the starting on the timeline. And if you press spacebar, you can see your animation. You will think, why did we render the frames? Why not directly the video? It's because if your Blender crashed during the render, you will not lose your progress. Now go to Output Settings, and there type 100 instead of 250. Because your animation is only 100 frames long, and now go to Output, select in Folder to save your video, and then tap Ctrl+F12 to render it. And now you will see your animation video. And with that, the beginner course is complete. I hope you learned something valuable along the way. Learning Blender takes time, and finding your place as a 3D artist is a journey, so don't worry if you don't master everything immediately. The most important thing you can do now is practice everything you've learned. From my side, I recommend focusing on modeling, texturing, learning keyboard shortcuts to speed up your workflow. Keep creating, keep experimenting, and don't be afraid to make mistakes. Every project will teach you something new and bring you one step closer to becoming a better artist. Good luck on your Blender journey.